It was because of the information provided to us by neighbors and the tireless work of our Providence Police Department, the Rhode Island State Police, the FBI, the ATF, and many other federal partners. And I will say on behalf of the people of Providence, we owe every member of the Providence Police Department the deepest debt of gratitude.
Ah, yes, the extremely, horribly, terribly Democrat mayor of Providence, Rhode Island. His name is Brett Smiley. He hasn't been very smiley for the last week or so, though, has he? No, he hasn't. Well, welcome back once again on this great American Friday. Christmas week is nearly upon us. A Merry Christmas to everyone. A Happy Hanukkah to our Jewish friends and listeners. I've told you when I moved to Santa Barbara, California from Chicago, Illinois, I was settling in my first year there. And the local ABC station there, local ABC television station there, they put up a slide of like a cartoon, like a kid's cartoon of a menorah, you know, with the candelabra, you know, the religious candelabra. And they said, and written on the bottom, it said, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Hanukkah. And Hanukkah was spelled CH, you know, like Chanukah. And the voice said the staff and management at KEYT Television want to wish all of our Jewish viewers a happy Chanukah. A happy Chanukah. And that was a knee slapper. That was a good one. I said, well, I guess I'm in California now, huh? I thought they had Jews here. What's up with that? They're wacky. We've got all kinds of wild news stories for you. In fact, since I just mentioned that, I'll share this story with you out of New York City. New York City, where the Democrats have voted into office a virulently anti-Semitic, genocidal, Jew-hating jihadi named Mahmoud. He's not Mahmoud, he's Zohran. It was a different Mahmoud earlier today. It's Zohran Mamdani. Don't mess with the Zohran. And here's the headline from the left-wing Mediaite. New Mamdani appointee. He's the incoming mayor of our most populous city, one of the most important cities in the world. And he's an anti-Semite. He's an anti-American. He's anti-capitalist. He's a communist, and he's a jihadi. And the Democrats said, oh, yeah, I'll vote for him. Maybe I'll be murdered, and my suffering will be over. Somebody will throw me in front of a subway train, a New York City subway train. But here's the headline. New Mamdani appointee resigns after 1 day. Resigns after 1 day. Why would the new appointee resign after 1 day? As her old anti-Semitic posts are resurfaced. Wait a minute. He hired a Jew-hating anti-Semite, genocidal lunatic like a Nazi? Yeah, sure, you betcha. New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani, newly appointed Director of Appointments. He appointed a Director of Appointments. Hey, I'm the Director of Appointments. I've just been appointed the Director of Appointments. Her name is Catherine Almonte da Costa. She's got a lot of syllables in there, doesn't she? Catherine Almonte da Costa resigned after 1 day on the job on Thursday, that's yesterday, following a report on past anti-Semitic social media posts. Sure. Quote, as the mother of Jewish children, I feel a profound sense of sadness and remorse at the harm these words have caused, Da Costa said in a statement. She hates the Jews, and she says she's got Jewish children. Where'd she get Jewish children? Normally, for a woman to have Jewish children, she'd have to be Jewish herself. And she might be a self-loathing Democrat Jew or something like that. And she said, as this has become a distraction, they love that word distraction, don't they? As this has become a distraction from the work at hand, which is to kill all the Jews, get them out of New York City, I have offered my resignation. Independent journalists Timmy Facciola uncovered the posts and published some of the most inflammatory ones on his Substack account. He wrote, new, : oh, they all love their colons. Zohran Mamdani's Director of Appointments, Catherine Almonte da Costa, has an archive full of anti-Semitic posts. Far Rockaway train is the Jew train, she wrote in 2012. After I reached out to Mamdani's transition team for comment, she deleted her X accounts. And isn't that great? Faciola wrote on X, but not before screenshotting DaCosta's many anti-Semitic posts. Isn't that great? So you got Far Rockaway Train is Jew Train, she wrote. Isn't that wonderful? Money-hungry Jews, SMH. Zohran Mamdani's director of appointments has an archive full of anti-Semitic posts. And, he knew that when he picked her. Don't kid yourself. They know how to pick them, don't they? Isn't that great? Some of the tropes DaCosta pushed include writing, money-hungry, what is SMH? Shaking my head. Why don't you just write shaking my head? Everything has to be an abbreviation. Money-hungry Jews, shaking my head. Woo! Promoted to the upstairs office today. Sure, there we go. Working alongside these rich Jewish peeps. And, of course, the Far Rockaway train is a Jew train. DaCosta said, now, 34 and a member of the Democratic Socialists of America. The commies, they killed all the Jews they could kill. In my building, I've got neighbors, great neighbors, who escaped the Soviet Union. They're Jewish, a great couple. He was a professor. She was a ballet star. And they're Jewish, and they escaped the Soviet Union, where they had killed millions of Jews, and millions of Ukrainians, and they kill millions of people. That's what they call themselves socialists, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, and all that stuff. But isn't it great? Yeah, she's 34 years old now, Democratic Socialists of America. And now, honestly, who else is a member of the Democratic Socialists of America? Every Democrat in the country, they're all over Bernie Sanders, and I think AOC isn't she? And in Minnesota, they got another problem altogether. But so Zohran Mamdani allegedly lost his director of Jew-hating appointments or something like that. But that's who they are. That's how they are. The Right Reverend Jeremiah Wright from the Trinity United Church of Christ in Chicago, Barack Obama's spiritual guidepost. The Jews ain't going to let Barack talk with me because the Jews, the Democrat Party, they should be wearing armbands. They should be goose-stepping. They should all wear brown shirts, except the women, they should wear brown tops, because they wear tops. Not so much shirts, tops. It could be a top of any kind, long as it's brown. You guys. Out of Chicago, Illinois. Here it is, Channel 7 Eyewitness News. The Democrats, they love self-immolation. They self-immolate. One self-immolated and killed himself outside of the Donald Trump trial in New York while it was ongoing. Remember that? In front of all the cameras. And they didn't know what to do. The media didn't know what to do. And the guy set himself on fire and killed himself in front of the Donald Trump trial. It's because he had a very severe case of Trump derangement syndrome. We had a Democrat self-immolate, actually blow himself up inside of a Tesla truck. What are those things called? The Cybertruck, the Tesla Cybertruck. Set himself on fire, blew himself up with nail bombs inside in front of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. We had, the self-immolation of the Trump trial in New York, self-immolation he killed himself in front of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. We had a Democrat, member of the United States Air Force, self-immolate at the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. and kill himself. We played the audio for you on that. Really, the video is better, but I'm on radio, so I use the audio. What can I do? And a Democrat woman self-immolated at the Jewish consulate, the Israeli consulate in Atlanta. I didn't even know we had an Israeli consulate in Atlanta until a Democrat self-immolated there. That's a sure sign. And there have been I think there have been 8 or 9 Democrat self-immolations in the last couple of years. Oh, the guy at the Supreme Court, the Democrat self-immolated on Earth Day at the Supreme Court because he was protesting people putting smoke into the air. Not being very intelligent, he drenched himself in gasoline, set himself on fire, and then he became smoke in the air. Sir, isn't this what you objected to? I mean, God, if I were there, I would have tried to straighten him out on this. Say, but that's you have no sense of irony, sir. No sense of irony. But here's the headline from ABC 7 Eyewitness News in Chicago, Illinois. Person sets himself on fire near CTA. That's the Chicago Transit Authority. They're the elevated trains and so on, and subway trains. A person sets himself on fire near CTA Blue Line stop. It's not even at the stop. He's too lazy to go to the stop. But there we go. We got another Democrat setting himself on fire. A person set himself on fire near the CTA train stop, the city's northwest side. The Chicago Fire Department confirmed on Friday morning. You know, you don't want to have to hear from the fire department about your son. Hey, were you able to put him out? The Democrats, they're really unwell. So the fire department confirmed. Chicago Fire Department said it happened in or near the CTA Blue Line's Damon Avenue stop in the city's Wicker Park neighborhood. Very nice, very lovely. And went there to set himself on fire because the Democrat Party did this to him. Make no mistake, the Democrat Party did this to him. The man, who was taken to Stroger Hospital in critical condition, as you might imagine, the Chicago Fire Department said his age was not immediately known. It's hard to tell, when you're a crispy critter. Hey, how old do you think he was? I don't know, old as Mount Vesuvius, I'm guessing. Chicago Fire Department did not immediately say whether anyone else was injured. The CTA said Blue Line service is running with delays. See, this is the important part, is that in Chicago, and this is why I want to let you know, because we're on the air right now in Chicago on WLS, on the great WLS, and I just want to let everybody know that there are delays on the Blue Line because a Democrat self-immolated today. This is, I think for the Democrats, this is part of the Christmas season. They're getting into the Christmas spirit, aren't they? A little bit of self-immolation goes a long way. So the CTA said Blue Line service is running with delays due to Chicago Fire Department activity at the Damon stop. That seems explicable. I can accept that. The CTA instructed riders to board all trains on the O'Hare-bound side between Western and Damon stations, right? Headed to O'Hare Airport, which is named for Butch O'Hare, who was a Navy fighter pilot in World War II, Medal of Honor recipient, and that's great. Trains in both directions are running on the same track. Single tracking between those stops, the CTA said. See, I'm just doing the public service thing here to let you know in Chicago about the delays on the Blue Line on the CTA. Officials did not immediately provide further information. I would like further information. Did he yell anything? Was he wearing, a T-shirt of note of any kind? Speaking of which, that nice lady, the grandmotherly lady at the Target store, working at the Target store, stocking the shelves. And then the Democrat crazy lady came up and cursed her out for wearing a Charlie Kirk T-shirt. And I want to get an update on how much money has been raised, because by the time we left yesterday, it was more than $211,000 being raised for the nice lady, because the crazy woman, they are just, boy, are they unwell. The Democrat Party, what happened to them? Something terribly, terribly wrong. Yes, sir. Also, did you see the man in Australia, the Muslim man? What's his name? Maktub or something. Maktub El Maktub, something like that. And he rushed one of the gunmen and tackled him to the ground and pulled his gun away. Now, that guy then escaped because the Good Samaritan didn't shoot him and kill him as he should have if he wanted to be a really good Samaritan. It's easy to be a good Samaritan, but to be a really good Samaritan, that sometimes goes above and beyond. But he has had, more than $2.1 million raised for him so far, and that's great. Now, he should have shot the SOB, because that guy went and kept shooting people, got another gun, which they had there, and kept shooting people until the police came and shot him, and the Democrats want to defund the police. Honestly, membership in the Democrat Party is a mental illness. SMIDs, severely mentally ill Democrats. Did you know that the all-new third-generation Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier is finally available to all of us, and it builds on the incredible success of the previous generations, which had already earned thousands of five-star reviews on Al Gore's amazing internet. This new Thunderstorm uses two technologies that studies have shown help to kill up to 99.9% of bacteria and viruses floating in the air that you and your family breathe at home, at work. It also removes dust and pet dander and smoke and a whole lot more from the air that you breathe, and it gets rid of any stinky odor. The Thunderstorm will help get rid of smelly smells, guaranteed. Odors from kitty litter boxes, trash cans, cigarette smoke, liberals, musty basements. No match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. And the smells disappear in a matter of seconds. Right now, you can save $200 American when you buy the Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for a whole home protection. You can put one in your basement, your teenager's room, your own bedroom, your kitchen, any place you like to breathe clean, fresh air. You can give them as gifts, too. All you have to do is go to EdenPureDeals.com and use the discount code CHRIS3, CHRIS, and the number 3 to save $200 American on 3 thunderstorms. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is CHRIS3. And now, The Doors. The Muslim guy in Australia, millions have been raised for him. The nice lady working at Target in California, hundreds of thousands raised for him. You know why? Because people are good. That's why. All right, Michael, let us go immediately to the telephones and talk to the great people. Let's talk to Steve, calling from the small state of Connecticut. Stephen, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hey, how you doing, Chris?
Hey, Steve. Very well, Thank you.
Besides the fact that I grew up in Providence and we named our daughter Providence and we'll never live there again, in that area, that neighborhood, are multi-million-dollar houses occupied by far-left liberal doctors, lawyers, who, if you stole a Kamala Harris sign off their front lawn in October, you'd have 500 photos sent to the police within 10 minutes. I'm not understanding where all the photos of this Portuguese national is.
Oh, that's
10, 20
interesting.
Restaurants.
Uh-huh.
With, I'm sure, security footage, cameras outside. You couldn't walk a block from where the shooting happened without thousands of pictures being taken of you from people's Ring doorbells, security systems, and like I said, multi-million-dollar houses that are only occupied by really rich people from Rhode Island. I'm just not understanding where we only have one picture of the suspected shooter.
What do you think the problem is there?
Like you've said multiple times, the leadership, and this is another reason why my wife and I, when we go up there to explore Providence and walk around like we did Saturday, right near the shooting,
wow,
we always say to ourselves, we will never live here again.
Hang in.
Before the shooting.
If you can hang in for a minute, I'd like to talk to you more. Now we're back on this Friday. And still hanging on the line. He actually had to call back in. He's not still hanging. I don't want to be accurate because Steve was disconnected, I think, by the National Security Agency, but he called back in, and that makes us very happy. So, Steve, thank you for hanging in there. Steve calling in from Connecticut, and Steve was just telling me about Providence, Rhode Island, because Steve grew up. Now, Steve, you said you grew up in Rhode Island. In fact, you grew up in Providence, Rhode Island. And you and your wife, who is a woman and you're a man, you have a daughter, which is natural, and you named your daughter Providence.
Yes. I mean, for more than just the city, which we love, and we still go up there. We were there Saturday. We took a train. We were going to take a bus to either Brown University area, because it is a nice area to walk, or to another place. And we decided to do another place just before the shooting started. But
wow.
Every time we go up there, and she's from Rhode Island as well, and we say to ourselves, if I was wearing my military anything or a flag or anything, I would get dirty looks.
Wow.
Especially the closer you get to Brown University. And when you say, why do you think that is? Why do you think that? All the things you talk about, if you set up shop on Blackstone Boulevard on Thayer Street, all the things you talk about, you would see, and it's magnified because it's such a small area. Like,
Wow.
I feel uncomfortable if I had to engage someone in that area.
Wow. Wow.
So, yeah, and they're all the same mindset. You'll never see, God forbid, you'd never see a Trump sticker or placard in that area. So is that tied to it? I don't know.
Right. Right. We don't know. And the police, I've been very unimpressed with the police in Providence and in the state of Rhode Island. And their press conferences have been an embarrassment. And who's the guy, the attorney general of the state that was at the press conference, who's stepping on people and jumping in and saying, I'll answer this question. And that guy, my best girl and I last night were mocking him and rewinding him to literally to laugh at his phony answers, his lame answers. And I was embarrassed for them. We were both embarrassed for them. And then the president of the university, she came out and again took half a question, didn't answer it, and then stormed out of the room. And everybody acted like that's what they expected, like that's normal or something.
Well, you have to remember that the best of the best to come out of Rhode Island is Gina Raimondo.
Huh.
So there you go. The last functional mayor was Buddy Cianci, who was a mob boss.
Yeah, and he went to prison.
If he ran for election today, he would win. And he's passed away. So, I mean, that DEI thing you talk about.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Like I said, you could set up shop and you'd have enough material to last you for 10 years.
Yeah, and Buddy Cianci, you're right. He was the mayor, and he was a very popular mayor, and he was a real character, and people really liked him as a personality, as a character. And he was, according to all reports, a lot of that going on in Rhode Island, a mob boss, and he ended up he got sent to the penitentiary for all kinds of corruption, right?
Yeah. Well, his autobiography, he told about how he tortured his wife's lover. He talked about it openly.
Well,
yeah, you couldn't get in that position at that time unless you were either connected or the head of something.
Well, who would not
all the bosses?
Who would not torture their wife's lover?
Of course.
You know, I mean, come on.
And get away with it and get elected mayor. Yeah. But so when you see people on TV and you mock them, that's my everyday, or was, and sometimes I listen into the local radio station and hear these people every day. The COVID, someone came on from Rhode Island every day to talk about COVID, and you would, mind-boggling.
Now,
like everybody in Rhode Island who had a brain would mock them. Yes.
It sounds like it's a short line. But you said if you walked around in your military uniform, are you active duty right now?
No.
All right, so you're prior military.
Yes.
Okay, but you're convinced if you walked around near Brown University or even in downtown Providence that you would not be warmly received. Nobody would say thank you or salute you. They'd give you dirty looks and scowls because they're all lefty, liberal, academic types, and they're a gang of wankers.
Yep. Yes, and I went to a conference in Kansas City last year, and one person, the first person who did say, "Oh, thank you," I was taken aback because I don't ever hear it. I don't ever hear it.
In Casey Mo, Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah. And then, yep. So if I go west of the mountains here in Pennsylvania, I start to hear things like that. East of that now, I don't hear anything like that.
And that's why the Democrats say that the state of Pennsylvania, every election year, they say they call it Pencil-tucky, right? They say you got Philadelphia and a little bit of Pittsburgh, and the rest of it they say is Kentucky. They call it Pencil-tucky, which is their way of expressing disdain and contempt for people in Pennsylvania that might have an American flag in front of their house, might be on our side. I mean, really, the Democrat Party has become a treacherous, treasonous, traitorous, anti-American, anti-capitalist, anti-Semitic party, and they want to sever the genitals of children everywhere and put them in mayonnaise jars.
Yes. Accept everyone except if you don't agree with me is the mentality. In at least the cities, definitely the cities, because Connecticut surprisingly has pockets of rural areas that there are definitely Trump flags and there are definitely people who think normally, but not in the city. I won't even walk around New York City anymore. I used to do that on a regular basis, but Providence is on the same par.
I got to tell you that the country, we're in the midst of a great schism, and it's the left all the way. The left took over the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party had already secured information dominance in the media, and that's the news media and the entertainment media. They have secured dominance in academia, and keeping in mind that the first draft of history is written by the journalists, the Fourth Estate. The second draft of history is written by academia and the publishing houses, and their entire program is fundamentally anti-American, and it's a terribly disturbing thing. And where we go as a nature and as a nation and as a culture from here, I just don't know. I really don't know, Steve.
And Brown, people talk about Harvard a lot, but Brown, I think, is definitely the birthplace of this movement. The taking over of the academia, I believe, started at Brown.
No kidding.
For sure.
Wow. Wow. Well, Stephen, I'm glad that you called in. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I like KC Mo myself, Kansas City, Missouri. I lived in Kansas City, Missouri for about a half a year. And then the woman who would eventually become my ex-wife lost her mind. And then that's when I moved to Washington, D.C. And everything's been working out pretty well since then. Stephen, thank you, buddy. I'm saluting you. Saluting you. Smart snap salute. That is great. Thank you, Steve. The Democrats. Yeah, and I went and I looked while Steve was talking earlier. I went to real estate to the Zillow people in Providence, Rhode Island. And here's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and Steve mentioned Exchange Street. And the address is 1 West Exchange Street. A 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo under 1,500 square feet is $999,900. So you just round it to $1 million. It's only a $100 difference, but there's $999,900 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. That's 1,480 square feet. And, you know, the Democrats, they just make everything better. How do they do it? I do not know. Isn't that amazing? All right, let me get to, let's look at the clock. And let's go to some audio here. Brown University, I should start at soundbite number 1, shouldn't I? Because that's the first one. Rhode Island State Police Superintendent Darnell Weaver. And he came out and he was very defensive. It seemed to me that, and he looked squared away. He looked like a square-jawed, kind of a sturdy guy, state police. And I kept thinking about, what's the name of that movie, the Rhode Island State Police, and, Jim Carrey. Me, Myself, and Irene. Yeah, he's a motorcycle. He had the same uniform on. He had the same, the superintendent of the state police, Darnell Weaver. He had the same Me, Myself, and Irene, with the Smokey Bear hat and all that stuff. And I look at that guy and said, look, it's Me, Myself, and Irene. It's let's call in the sons. Let's go in the 3 sons. That's great stuff. But here's the Rhode Island State Police Superintendent. That's like being the chief, Darnell Weaver. And he's like, you guys have been mean to us on social media and stuff. I can't believe the stuff you've been saying about us just because we haven't caught this guy that shut the place up. And we have, a $7.5 billion endowment at Brown University and 800 cameras, but not one of them captured the killer walking in and out. We had to depend on a homeless man living in the basement of the same building to lead us to the killer. It was that movie in Washington, D.C. that with Cher and Dennis Quaid, where he was a homeless guy and was accused of murder, but a senator did it. That's another story for another day. Rhode Island State Police Superintendent Darnell Weaver at the big press conference last night.
Criminal investigations are grounded in evidence,
That's
not
good.
speculation
That's
or
true.
online commentary.
Online.
The endless barrage of misinformation, disinformation, rumors, leaks, and clickbait were not helpful in this investigation.
Rumors.
Distractions and unfounded criticisms do not support this work.
Democrat
they
word.
complicate it and threaten to undermine the justice we seek for the victims and the grieving families.
Yeah, well, and for the grieving police superintendent, too. He was really grumpy. He was moody, and he was like, people putting stuff online that's not true? What next? Gosh, hadn't seen that before. Brown University has a president, Christina Paxson. Christina Paxson is paid more than $3.1 million a year, and she has no idea what's going on the campus. With security, with lunatics wandering around, with homeless people living in the basements of buildings. This woman, she's been dazzlingly unimpressive. And she was at the press conference last night, too.
Now, we know the public and our own Brown community members will want to know more about the individual now identified by law enforcement as the suspect in last weekend's shooting.
Racist.
And we can confirm the following to the best of our knowledge. Claudia Manuel Neves Valente was enrolled at Brown from the fall of 2000 to the spring of 2001.
He's a student there.
He was admitted to Brown's graduate school to study in the Masters of Science PhD program in physics, beginning on September 1st, 2000.
And beginning on September 1st, 2000. That's 25 years ago. It's that's a long time ago. And he came in on a student visa, and then he dropped out of in 2000, and then he dropped out of his student work in 2001, and if I'm not mistaken, that's about 24 years ago, and he's still in the country because we're so generous with our idiot visas, and this reminds me of Ted Kaczynski. Who's Ted Kaczynski? The Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski, and he was a radical environmentalist, and he sent bombs to people in Blue Mountain. He was working on his PhD because academia is a good safe haven for crazy people and mental people. And Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, he's got a lot in common with this killer with four names who came to us from Portugal, which means he's Portuguese. And the MIT professor that he killed, he murdered in his home, apparently his family in the building when he was murdered, and his wife and kids, because the psychopath from Portugal. But the MIT professor, reportedly also Portuguese, and they attended the same school at the same time in Lisbon, which is in Portugal. The last plane out of Casablanca for Lisbon. But this, academia and Democrats and leftists and liberals and the media, we're going to have to remake our country because the Democrats have self-immolated the entire country for us. Isn't that? They're just nuts, completely crazy. I've got more. I've got an FBI special agent coming up for you about the MIT situation, and then a couple of Q's and a couple of A's at the press conference. That'll be questions and answers for Democrats trying to follow along at home or in their cars, for that matter. Aren't they amazing? Just awful. From effortlessly hosting holiday parties to giving unforgettable gifts, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience. Right now, you can shop this season, this Christmas season, this Hanukkah season, the top gourmet gifts at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners, that's you get another $35 off with the code PLANT at checkout. That's Plante. There's an E on the end. Nobody knows why. My best girl and I, we love the filet mignons that we get, the bacon-wrapped fillets from Omaha Steaks. We cook them up in my grandfather's 75-year-old iron skillet. Makes them beautiful. Give someone that you love the gift of steak this Christmas, because right now is the perfect time to save on the delicious gifts and holiday hosting favorites. Every steak is perfectly aged to maximize tenderness and flavor, and then hand-cut by master butchers in America's heartland. Right now, you save big on gourmet gifts and for yourself, too, with more holiday favorites with Omaha Steaks. All you have to do is visit omahasteaks.com, right there on Al Gore's amazing internet, peace be upon him. And for an extra $35 off, because we hang out together, you use the code PLANT at checkout. Some terms apply. See the site for details. That's omahasteaks.com. The promo code is PLANT. Isn't it wonderful? Yes, sir. Yeah, I've got lots more. I've only got an hour and 9 minutes left. I'm going to have to start packing it in. So much going on. And Christmas is coming. But we're inside of 1 week, all right? It's the 19th of December. If I remember correctly, Christmas is still on the 25th, isn't it? And you see what President Trump did for government employees for Christmas? That's coming up. Now, this is pretty hilarious. President Trump renamed the Kennedy Center yesterday the Trump Kennedy Center. Well, the board at the Kennedy Center did, but he put every board member in place. And get a load of this. And that's funny, and everybody's going crazy about it. Trump orders, he ordered a set-aside for Christmas Eve and December 26th as federal holidays. So it's not just Christmas Day, the 25th, but now Christmas Eve, the 24th. And just for good measure, let's throw in the 26th as federal holidays. They're not national holidays, but they are federal holidays. President Trump issued an executive order Thursday declaring Christmas Eve, that's the day before Christmas, the 25th, and December 26th, the day after Christmas, as federal holidays this year. The order will result in federal agencies being closed and employees excused from duty next Wednesday through Friday, as Christmas Day is already a federal holiday. Trump noted, though, that the agency heads may determine that certain offices and installations of their organizations or parts thereof must remain open, and that certain employees must report for duty on December 24th and December 26th. But, of course, as usual, not Christmas Day itself because we're a Christian society. You know how that goes. Culture, a country. During his first term, the president designated Christmas Eve as a federal holiday in 2019 and 2020. In those years, December 24th fell on a Tuesday and Thursday, respectively. Former President Obama did the same thing for December 26th in 2014, but then he stole your children and sold them on the open market. So that was a little bit different. Little different. Yes, sir. And he changed the name of the 26th to Trump Day. All right, he didn't really. I just made that part up. I did, but we've got more. We've got more coming up for you. Out of Rhode Island and the capture of the lunatic and more. Christmas is coming.